Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be combining 3 videos so that I can catch up to real time. I'm gonna be talking about the books that I read in May and in June, and then talk to you about kinda what my reading plans are for July. It's July 16th as I'm filming this. I didn't really feel like making a whole TBR, but I also didn't want to leave you hanging, and also I'm kind of slumpy anyway. Let's just catch up. Life has been chaotic with moving and traveling and just family stuff, and just it's been a lot, so my reading has taken a bit of a hit. My YouTube working time has taken a bit of a hit, but I still have a bunch of fun moving vlog content that is finally next on the docket if I don't keep missing regularly timed seasonal content like this video. And I want to do my mid-year freak out soon as well before that time passes, so that might slip in between all the moving stuff. But let's go ahead and dive into the books that I read in May to start. In May, which felt like 5 bajillion years ago, I participated in a historical romance readathon as a co-host, and it was really fun. So I was prioritizing historical romances, which I haven't read in a while. And the first one I picked up was Falling into Bed with a Duke by Lorraine Heath. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. Guys, this was so long ago. This was so long ago. Do I have a review? Oh, Goodreads changed its font? The Goodreads logo font literally just changed today. The G is different on the app. Is the app gonna be better? On Goodreads, I wrote, enjoyed the plot, though the writing could have been more emotionally moving. Also, at times, I found the writing to feel repetitive with the characters' thoughts and the words used. So, it was fine. It's not something that, I'll probably read again. The next book I read for the historical romance readathon was Splendid by Julia Quinn. Now, I was really excited to get to this. Julia Quinn, I'm pretty sure, is the author of the Bridgerton series. I'm pretty confident that's right. This is her first book, and I gave this 3 stars as well. I don't know, it was cute. Oh, I didn't tell you what this book was about. You know, we don't care. This one, we have an American heiress who catches the eye of this, I think he's also a duke? Yeah, he's a duke. And he's just obsessed with her. Oh, actually, this one was fun. The plot was fun, right? We have this older woman who just wants to experience a sexual interaction. So she gets into this club type thing where they keep their identity secret and stuff, and this guy wants to take pictures of her, and he quickly figures out who she is, but she thinks her identity is protected, and he goes along with it, and he's trying to convince her to kind of be with him. I don't know, I thought the premise was sexual in nature with the plot, but it really wasn't that steamy. That was my main issue with that first one. This one was interesting because the guy is obsessed with her right off the bat, and he's very territorial about her, but he doesn't want to admit it, which is kind of cute. But then there's all this extra side plot that I don't really care about, and they're kind of together early on in the story. They're basically dating, and it's what is the point? Where's the angst? You know? I wonder if I wrote a review on this one too. So on Goodreads, I wrote, the last 60 pages were unnecessary, not very much romantic tension. So again, another one where I felt the plot was interesting, but I don't know, I just didn't feel it in my chest. So a little disappointed by that. Then we had a successful one. I read The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. I've read this author before. She had that book, How to Love a Duke in 10 Days, something like that. And I really enjoyed that one. It was the first book in a 3-book series, but book 2 and 3 in that series I didn't really like as much. So I was a little hesitant about this one, but super excited at the same time because I heard so many good reviews from online friends, and people were hyping it up in reviews and stuff. So I went in with very excited expectations. This one, from my memory, is about 2 orphaned children that meet in an orphanage. It's a boy and a girl. The girl's a little bit younger, but the boy, he is very, I don't know, he's just having a hard time. He's a bit isolated, and this little girl is his only comfort. They become fast friends. She teaches him how to read, and you find out that she's the bastard child or something of a really rich man, or I don't know, I don't even think she was a bastard. She was supposed to inherit some stuff, but I don't know why she was living in an orphanage. Sus. I don't remember. But when they were children, like 10-ish, they marry each other as children do, like all cute and stuff. But they take it like really serious. And the little girl, as she got older, was like, again, and this is a thing in Kerrigan Burns books, sometimes she like, it has to do with like sexual abuse and stuff. So she is being attacked by this creepy man, and she's able to get away, and she runs to the boy. I should remember their names, but I can't be bothered right now to look it up. And he goes to protect her, and he ends up killing somebody. And I think he thinks she dies in like the kerfuffle, but she doesn't, obviously, because she's the love interest. He gets sent to prison. She knows he's in prison. She's like waiting for him. She grows up. He thinks she's dead or something. He gets like a whole new persona. Like he like takes on a new name. He takes the identity of somebody else or whatever. And he finds her again, and it's like them reconnecting, but she thinks he's a different man. Like she doesn't recognize him as the boy in the past. She just recognizes him as this guy that's like obsessed with her and like kind of like kidnaps her. I think he kidnapped her. And it was that. And I thought it was really good. I thought the romantic tension was definitely there. I thought the secret keeping lasted a little bit too long, but I really don't like secrets. Especially as the reader, when I know the answer already, I find secrets kind of boring. I'm just like, just tell them the frickin' truth. I gave this 4.5 stars. And in my review, I said, very strong emotional depth in the story. So yeah, that was a great one. The first book in the Victorian Rebels series. And then the last book I read in May was this book called Don't Look by Jessa Kane. I ended up giving this 4 stars for a smutty novella. You know how it is. Oh, this one was weird. This one, the premise is it's like a rich girl who's the daughter of like some kind of crime lord is locked up in a tower. She falls in love with this guy that she can see across the canyon. Like just imagine like the Hollywood Hills. And the guy she falls in love with just happens to be like, I don't know, like an undercover detective of like the CIA or something that's been investigating her father. He doesn't know about her, but she is able to escape one night and like sneaks into his car, and he goes to a bar to like unwind from like the stress of trying to capture this guy. And she walks into the bar and he's instantly obsessed with her and in lust with her and in love with her. And it's that moment in time. She eventually goes back home, and then he is like undercover at her house, and he sees her, and he's like, oh my God, I have to save her, da 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 da. That's the same girl. And it was fun. So I gave it 4 stars. So that was only 4 books read in May. And then we move into June, and the first book I pick up was another Jessa Kane. This one's called Praise Me, Soldier. And I ended up rating this one 4 stars as well. What is this one? Oh my God. This one was actually really interesting. I liked this one. I just kind of like smutty heroes that are super, super obsessed and like in love and lust with the female main character in a way that they like can barely control themselves. It almost feels like innocent in the way that they act. So we have our heroine. Apparently her name is July. She's supposed to go on a first date with this other dude during her lunch break. She's like in marketing or something, and she accidentally sits down at the wrong table. She sits down in front of this guy who's our hero. His name's Theo. He's a soldier, and he's just gotten off from like his mission or whatever, and he's got a lot of like PTSD. He's struggling to get back into like civilian life. He's just struggling. He has a lot of dark thoughts, and he's got a lot of like traumatic flashbacks and stuff in his mind. He's struggling. But as soon as this girl sits down in front of him, he's like, whoa. He like feels something positive for the first time in a long time. And he like, well, how do I say this discreetly? I don't think I can say it even discreetly. Let's just say he gets to completion in his pants without even having any physical stimulation besides just looking at her and being in love with her right away, instantly. I just find that so funny. And the girl, I'm pretty sure this is correct. And she's just like, okay, like you're really cute, but like, what was that? And then she runs off before he gets his bearings again. Like they talked a little bit before. And he's like, that girl is mine. And it's the story from there. And it was just fun, okay? I don't know anything about like, oh, apparently he was a prisoner of war. I don't know anything about like what it means to be a soldier, like having that kind of trauma, but I feel like Jessa Kane writes about it in a way that feels, you know, emotionally impactful. You know what I mean? Like, he's clearly been through some stuff, and you can see that. It doesn't just seem surface level. You know, it goes a little bit deeper considering it's a smutty novella. So had fun with that, gave it 4 stars. And then the next book I read for my New York City book club was Pachinko. This was a book I've been wanting to read for many, many years, and I finally read this chunky historical. This is about a Korean family, and it's a generational story. So a lot happens, and it was really interesting to learn about the history of Korea and Japan. So we have this main character, this Korean young woman who falls pregnant by this other dude who's not a stand-up guy, and she doesn't want to like be his mistress or whatever. She's kind of like not in a good position at this time period. It's like before World War II. This other Korean priest comes to town and he offers to marry her, but he's moving to Japan. So the two of them go to Japan, and it's like their family saga as Koreans living in Japan. And just like learning about that was really interesting, and just like the concepts of pride and what it means to like have, I don't know, like self-identification in like your country and your origin and your ethnicity. Like, there would be generations of these Korean families born in Japan, but they were never seen as Japanese by the government. Like, they would have to have foreign passports. They would be treated like very poorly. They had less opportunities and rights. And people were very racist against the Koreans. And the whole thing with the pachinko was so interesting how it tied into the story, because pachinko is basically like a gambling game. Oh my God, it was so interesting. I recently went to Japan. They had pachinko stores because obviously this takes place in Japan. And I saw the gambling halls with pachinko machines. And it's similar vibe to like slots, where you're just sitting there and you're just like hitting buttons. It's not like a card game or anything. It's like these balls that like fall down, these things. Honestly, when I went in real life, I have no idea what's going on. And it was probably very, very different than the older versions of how pachinko games would work before like these fancy machines and stuff. I did not understand what's going on. It was very noisy. There's a lot of like these little tiny metal balls, and it's like constantly. But anyway, it's gambling, so like the Japanese people didn't want to run those businesses, so that was like the one thing the Koreans could do where they could thrive and like make a lot of money. But it wasn't like seen as like a good job or like a classy or respected job. So just seeing how like pachinko kept coming back into the family, no matter like how high they like moved up the ladder or whatever, it was just very interesting. Yeah, I'm really happy I read this. I gave this book a perfect 5 stars, which I'm very stingy with my 5 stars, but this book, I literally had no critiques. In my Goodreads review, I wrote 0 critiques. This book felt like a perfect book that I'd never read again. It was beautiful, real, and achingly painful in its portrayal. Will I never read this again? I'd probably read it again, but I would need like at least 10 years before I felt like I could pick this up again. I think everybody should read this. It's a really cool way to learn about the history, and it's sad and beautiful, and like some of the things the characters do, I was like, why? Why did you do that? To the point that like I couldn't even have sympathy. I was like so upset and angry that they chose to do that, even though it was like achingly painful, you know? The third book I read in June was Dark Instincts by Susanna Wright. This is like the 4th book in her Phoenix Pack series, and I ended up giving this one at 3.5 stars. So this is a 4th book in a series, but just know that it's like a wolf shifter series. We have mates, like fated mates or whatever. The couple was like interesting and fun or whatever. It was a bit of like a flirty hero trying to convince like the grumpy heroine, you know, which is a fun dynamic. But for me, there's like a lot of plot. Like, it doesn't even feel like side plot. Like, for me, I want the romance to be the main plot. There was a lot of like main plot that had nothing to do with the romance and had a lot to do with like this horrible abuse, like murder ring, like some kind of horrible like evil organization that like kidnaps people to like murder and abuse them. They were like investigating it as like a pack, like the 2 packs of the main characters are like trying to solve who's behind this horrible organization that's like hurting and killing and abusing people, and then like posting it online for people to watch for fun, like PORN, you know what I mean? I'm just like not interested in that much. I rather focus on just like the fun of a romance. And like if there's dark themes, for sure it can be like included in the story, but like it was just too much for me. I feel like the first book was my favorite in this series still, and I might be done with the series. And then the last book I read in June was Praise Me, Princess. Apparently I read a lot of the Praise Me spin-off books for Jessica Kane. And this one was like, we have this young princess, she's like 18 or whatever, 19, in some kind of like East European vibe country. There are these rebels that are coming to like attack the country, or like, I don't know, the leadership in the country, the royals. And they're like threatening, they're not like actively on their doorstep or anything. But the princess had gotten kidnapped in the past and obviously has a lot of trauma around that, so she doesn't like to go outside. But the queen is like, you need to get over it. Get over it. So she hires this guy to be her bodyguard. It's this like well-known, like very successful soldier guy. And he's just like, I just want to retire. He's like, I don't know why I've been forced this assignment to protect this like prissy little princess. He doesn't even like look at the princess while he's in the room talking to the queen. He like purposely ignores her because he's like, I don't want to do this. But as soon as he hears her voice, he's like, what? Who is this angelic being? And then he like looks at her and he's like, instantly in love and lust. And it's just that story. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was like a decently fun time, but it wasn't as fun as like the last 2 Jessica Kanes that I had read already in recent time. So yeah, those are the books that I read in May and June. Now for July, I really don't know what I'm doing, guys. I've just been feeling kind of blah. I just had a lot of like personal like nonsense mentally that I've been dealing with. I've been trying to keep myself distracted as a coping mechanism, and reading is just not distracting enough. So I've been doing a lot of scrolling. I've been doing a lot of video gaming on my PlayStation downstairs, which has been fun. But that means I'm not reading as much. So I really want to like turn the corner on that and stop scrolling so much and read more. But I don't know what I'm in the mood for, if I'm being honest. And I'd film a vlog being like, get out of a reading slump with me. But I'm just so far behind, I don't even want to backlog another vlog. My main mission for July is catch up on as many videos as I can for you guys. Thank you for sticking with me and being so patient. But I do have 2 books for July that I want to get read. Everything else, I'm just gonna like feel it out. I really don't want to force myself to read anything when I'm in this like weird, like apathetic mood towards books, because I don't want to ruin a good book with a bad mood. The first book I'm picking up is this one, and it's a little hard to see the words. It's called From a Studio in Oakland, California, 108 Notes on Existence by Ania Oakes. This is actually a book that I got sent by the publisher in exchange for a review, so I'm excited to get to it. I don't accept books usually unless I'm like genuinely interested in the topic of it, and this one just sounded really cool. So it's written by this woman who is like a doctor, like a medical doctor. She says she's an emergency medicine physician. And I just think so far I've read the introduction and a couple of the, we'll call them poems so far. And I really enjoy the writing style. And I think this is the perfect time for me to read it because I'm having kind of like this emotional, like weird place that I need this. In her intro, she says, in some way, we are all hurting and hoping. If this book can offer even a small amount of comfort, clarity, or connection, then it has done what it came here to do. This is an offering in service of humanity, yours, mine, and ours, collectively. And I just thought that was really beautiful. And I was like, okay, maybe this is like really what I need right now. And I'm excited to get through some more of the stories. She breaks them down. And again, I've not been told to like say any of this. I'm just like telling you because I got it. And I want to like stand by this author's kind offering of sending it to me by talking about it with you. And I will tell you how I like it at the end when I finish. So she's broken down the sections of poems by self, healing, love, and other people, the journey of life, beauty, and existence, and then further than thought. So yeah, very, very intrigued to see her take on life and existence, her take on existence. So have that on the radar. It also feels good in my hands. And then the only other book that I can commit to, hopefully in July, is The 7-Year Slip. I have to read this for my basketball friends book club, so the girls I played basketball with in college. We've had a book club going for a couple of books now. This was my contribution, so like We recommended a bunch of books and like put them in a pot, and then my friend Ruth, who's kind of leading the charge on the book club, will select one. So my suggestion got picked for this round, and I started reading it. I picked this book up. Did I pick this book up on purpose? I think I actually got this in like a blind date with a book, but I had heard about it and I wasn't mad about getting it. Yeah, this is the author that did like the Dead Romantics book. So I heard really good things about this 7-year slip as well. But I started it, I'm on page like 8, and it's a lot like fluffier than I thought it was gonna be. So it's not really matching my mood and energy right now. So it reads kind of like this. This apartment is magical, my aunt once said, sitting her wing-back chair the color of a robin's egg, her hair twisted up with a silver dagger hairpin. She told me with mischief in her eyes, as if daring me to ask her what she meant. I had just turned 8 and thought I knew everything. It just kind of like reads like that. Everything about it was magical. The way the light poured into the kitchen in the mornings, golden like egg yolk. The way the study seemed to fit more books than possible, pouring off the shelves and piling. Like, it's just like, is that purple prose? I don't even know. I've heard the term purple prose, don't really know what that means. But it's just like, like get to the point. Like I kind of just want something a little more straightforward, but I have to finish this. I think we're going to talk about it in August. We pushed it out. We're late because people have not been reading books because it's summer. It's hard to read in summer. I'm putting it on the docket. I'm not super sure when we're going to meet, sometime in August. And that's all I really feel like committing to right now. And I don't want to talk about books that I've already talked to you about on other TBRs that I still haven't read, because I'm not here to waste your time anymore than I already do. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me. Thanks for catching up with me. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. And it helps out my channel. I'm like, what is my outro? And I will catch you in another video. Bye.